Yes.
And today I want to welcome everybody. Helen from Rochester. Do you guys also have snow?
How are you?
I we didn't get the snowstorm that you guys got. We did get a little bit of snow today,
Yeah,
but
no, we got a
not a lot.
lot of
I
snow.
know we didn't get anywhere near that
But you
amount.
usually do, right?
We didn't get it. We didn't get. I mean, we got maybe one time reached this year a foot and a half. I heard you guys were getting over 2 feet. Did you actually get over 2 feet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't.
All right, Judy, welcome.
Well,
Glad you're back from Florida. You didn't get stuck there. Ellen, are you back or are you in
Oh
Florida?
no, I'm still in Florida.
shame on
Brilliant.
you. Shame on you. You have no blood. That's all I have to say.
You're right. I'm
But you're
not ashamed
but
of
you're
it.
having fun.
Yep.
That's fine. It's
I think
fine.
this weather, I like this weather. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's not too cold.
Yep.
It's, yeah. All right.
Okay. All right. And Bev, I want to welcome you. You'll come back in a minute. And Estelle, I just want to welcome new and previous attendees of the class. Okay.
Thank you.
We have been learning Tehillim, Psalms, for over a year already. We are beginning to wind down. The last set that we've been doing are the Psalms for the days of the week. We have learned Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Guess what's next? Just take a guess.
Holidays?
Yom Shvi.
Shabbat.
Bye.
Oh,
Yeah, I didn't say Shabbat. You probably thought I said it. I said Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but I didn't say Shabbat. So that was the day that was missing. So it's a great question what Estelle brought up, but thank you for bringing that up. Estelle says maybe we're going to learn a special Tehillim Psalms for holidays. So does anybody want to share about that, what they think?
Hallel is a good one for holidays.
Yeah.
We could learn Hallel. That's not a bad idea. Let's think about that. That's a great idea. But the Psalm of the day for holidays, what do we say? Let's say, like this year, for example, Pesach comes out Tuesday night? Wednesday night. So the first day of Pesach is Thursday. What psalm do we say on Thursday, the first day of Pesach? Any ideas?
Thursday, the song for Thursday.
We say the psalm for Thursday. So basically, what it means is that we always say the psalm for the day, Estelle, even if it's a holiday. However, on Rosh Chodesh, we say a very special psalm called Barchi Nafshi, which I think maybe we should also learn because it's kind of cool. It has a lot of animals in it, which feels really interesting. And I have a lot of sources about that. Like it talks about the Leviathan, the Leviathan, which in modern Hebrew is a whale, but not clear that it meant a whale in that psalm. So that's an option, Baruch Nafshi. Although on Rosh Chodesh, we also say the psalm of the day. So this is an extra one. Another one is Psalm 27, which we say from Rosh Chodesh Elul. I think we learned that. I know I've taught that in the Bible. Yeah, Estelle.
but isn't there something that you say if it's the beginning of a holiday? Like
Oh,
the first,
Like
like
a
it's the first day of Purim or Pesach or something.
well, Purim is only one day, so it's not the
No,
first
but
day.
I meant Pesach. Isn't there a
So that's what I'm
song?
talking about. The first day of Pesach, you say the psalm of the day for that day of the week. But as Judy pointed out, there's also Hallel. Hallel, when we sing Hallel, that's a whole bunch of psalms. So that's an idea. Maybe we could, instead of what we said, favorite prayers, which maybe I'll move to next year, maybe we'll continue and we'll do till the end of the year. We'll do more psalms that are, if people are okay with that, I'm fine with that. Yeah,
Or
Judy.
was Estelle possibly referring to the bracha of Shehayanu?
I think you're right. You're right, Judy.
Oh, beautiful. Well done, Judy. Yes,
Thank you.
well
You're
done.
right. That's
Beautiful. I
that's
wasn't
what
thinking of that. So you're talking about the bracha we make when we light candles.
I don't know if you're like candles, but I know it's done on the first day of a holiday. If
So when we light candles, we say a shechianu and we say a special blessing on lighting candles for Yom Tov. Yom Tov is holiday. I think that's what Judy suggested you're referring to. By the way, Judy, not only is Hallel recited on all the holidays, it is recited on Pesach night. The only time of the year when you recite Hallel at night. I love that idea. I love the idea that we'll move straight from here. We'll do Shabbat. We're going to do Psalm 128, which I heard from Rev. Stephen's mother-in-law on Shabbat, a beautiful, beautiful explanation of it. So I got very inspired to teach Psalm 128, which I am familiar with but never thought of teaching. So this is great. You're inspiring me to think of maybe we'll do Hallel. That's great. I love that. And we'll push off favorite prayers for next year. And next year we'll do prayers. How do we like that? Does that sound good?
Sounds fine to me.
Is
Great.
there a difference between a psalm and a hymn?
Oh, such a great question. I think I even asked that question. I think a hymn can be both a psalm as well as, another piece of liturgy. Does that make sense? Because like non-Jews have hymns that are not psalms. So maybe it's psalms plus. But psalms or Tehillim or Mizmorim are only those 150 chapters. Everybody good on that? It was a great question. All these questions are terrific. I love them. Okay.
Comes from ignorance.
And then there's also
No, it doesn't show ignorance.
Thank you, Bev. Say more.
Well, yes, it shows that the
Curiosity.
brain is active.
It shows our brain is active. So, Estelle, I know you feel that way and you're always apologetic. I want to invite you to not be apologetic and to say, look at me. Any age, I can be curious, I can ask questions, and I can learn. I think that's a more positive way to think.
Of course, and that's a role model.
Yeah.
Gonna
Well,
say,
Bev,
that's the
you're
role model.
responsible for me. Just
It's
so
your
you know
fault,
that.
Bev. It's all your fault.
Yes, it is.
I agree. It's a role model. So we're going to move from apologizing for not knowing, and we're going to move into we are curious and we want to learn. I really think that's so much healthier. And I want to say there are no questions that are not legitimate. All questions are legitimate because unless, you're a kid who's asking it just to be dafka, to get you angry. But if it's a real question, what it means is, I don't know, I'm curious, I want to know. So please, please, please see it that way, Estelle. We welcome the questions. Yes, Judy.
just wanted to point out the other times that we say Hallel, although I think they're just in the daytime.
Wait.
Is Yom Yerushalayim.
Wait. I have a suggestion. That's great. But let's save Hallel for Yom Ha'atzmaut, Yom Yerushalayim. Let's save it for after Pesach. That's perfect. And all of those thoughts, bring them. But I just don't want to digress.
Of course, sure.
I'm not saying you're not right. You are right. But let's bring it in then. As a matter of fact, how about if the first class will be about when we say Hallel? How's that? All right. Excellent. I love it. I'm already excited. Thank you for that idea. You see, Estelle, the questions brought excitement.
Yes, ma'am.
The days that we don't say Hallel, like Purim or something.
Yes.
The flip side of it.
Yes, of course. Of course, we will address that as well. Thank you, Judy. Yes, I agree, but let's leave that for when we learn Hallel. We're going to start Hallel after Pesach, okay? We will do Hallel, I think, from Pesach till the end of the year. I'll probably do some singing, so prepare yourself because the Hallel lends itself to song. So I love singing. I think that'll enhance our classes, not the whole thing, but part of it.
It's beautiful on Pesach. It's that beautiful.
Yes, but I'm not teaching on Pesach. Pesach, I'm taking a little time off. And it doesn't work out anyway. It's Yontif, so I can't teach. So I will stop teaching probably a couple of weeks before Pesach. And we'll pick up again right after Pesach. In fact, we will bill it and put it in the bulletin as Learning Hallel. Love it.
Right.
Very excited. Okay, I'm already excited. But let's go back to Shabbat. Mizmor, mizmor, shir, shir leyom ha-shabbat. 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 Mizmor, shir. Started too high. Shir leyom ha-shabbat. Mizmor, shir, shir leyom ha-shabbat. Da-na-na-nai-nai-nai-nai. Ay-na-nai-nai-nai. Ay-da-da-da-da-da. Ay-da. Ay, na, 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 na. Now, why would I pick that tune? It's the first verse, I get it. But what is it about Shabbat that this tune maybe pops up for you? If it does, please share. Bev, I'm putting you on mute for a minute unless I hear Ted in the background. But unmute when you want to speak. Does this song invoke anything that might connect you for Shabbat? What does Shabbat mean? When you hear the word Shabbat, what comes up for you?
Saturday.
Not a trick question. Saturday, yes. Although, I want to point out, Estelle, come back on camera. We like seeing you on camera. Although, Bev, you can unmute if you want to speak. Let's remember that Saturday begins at 12 a.m. on Saturday, but Shabbat, nope, you went off again. But Shabbat, there, don't touch, perfect. But Shabbat begins Friday night. So remember that the Jewish time, Vayhi Erev, Vayhi Boker, and it was evening and it was morning, Yom Rishon, Sunday, Yom Sheni, Monday, Yom Shabbat. So yes, Saturday, but I want to step away from that a little bit because it starts Friday night at sundown. What does Shabbat evoke for anybody here? Continuing. Bev, you have to unmute. Here, let me help you.
May I?
Rest.
1 second. Bev, rest. Rest. Does it mean rest for you? Is that physical rest? Can you say more about that?
It is physical rest and nap time.
Nap time, yeah.
Right.
Love that.
And no guilt about leaving whatever work there is to
Love
be.
it. Love it. No guilt.
To the end of Shabbat.
Yeah, beautiful. So it's kind of time out of time. It's a little bracketing area of time. Yeah?
Right.
And let's remember that Shabbat happens. It just happens, right? It descends on you wherever you are in the world as soon as it's sundown on Friday. Judy and then Ellen.
It's also the eve of Hashem, Shabbat Yom Lashem, and is reminding us of the culmination of creation.
Yeah, because God rested. Yeah. We've discussed this perhaps, I don't remember if we discussed it in this class, that all the other points in time are marked by physicality. What do I mean by that? Night, like a day is daylight, and then a full day, I don't know how you say that in English. A full day is daylight and nighttime. How do you know how do you know it's Saturday? Because, well, theoretically it's 12 a.m., but because the sun comes up. So from sun up to sun up, it's a full day. From sundown to sundown. So a day is marked by physical nature. What about a month? Is a month marked?
By the moon.
By the moon. The moon waxes and wanes. So when it comes back again to a sliver, you know it's the beginning of the month or the lunar month. Or if it's full, you know that a month has passed. Great. What about a year?
Shana.
But how do you know it? Do you know it?
Have to have a calendar.
Well, yes, but I want to push back a little bit and say a year is marked in nature as well.
Well, the seasons.
The seasons, exactly. Now, I get that there are certain places where there's only 2 seasons, or maybe the equator, it's the same all year round. But in most places on Earth, you have seasons. So a year is actually marked, right, and it's about our revolution around the sun, I believe. Whereas,
I was going to say, I think it's got something to do with the solar system and how many times around the sun.
Correct, but yes, and we know when it's winter again that a year has passed from last winter. It's not made up, it's part of physical nature. But what about Shabbat? That every 7 days is Shabbat. Is that something that if you didn't know about Shabbat, would you be able to see it in nature?
No.
No. And that's the first time somebody pointed that out to me, I'm like, whoa, I never thought of it that way. Because we take a week as a given. And by the way, even people who don't keep Shabbat or don't care about Shabbat as a separate day, they also keep a week, which is so interesting. In fact, somewhere they tried, I can't remember where, they tried to institute 12-day weeks and it didn't work. People reverted back to 7-day weeks. Yeah, isn't that funny? So Why do we keep Shabbat? What is this thing about the seventh day? Where did it come from? It didn't come from nature. Where did it come from?
Torah.
The Torah. It's actually a concept that Jews and God introduced to the world.
Did Avraham Avinu keep Shabbat?
Well, I don't know. I wasn't there. But I just want to step away from that a moment. That's a broader question, Judy, about whether our forefathers and our ancestors kept the Torah, the halachot of Torah before Torah was given. I don't know. But that doesn't change the fact that every 7 days was Shabbat from the beginning, the creation of the world. We believe that this every 7 days is from the creation of the world. It has never ceased. But it's a spiritual. There's nothing in nature that marks Monday sundown and Friday sundown. You don't know that Friday sundown unless, I don't know, you're at Tzaddik or something and you see angels, but I don't see angels. I feel it because I believe in it. So I feel the difference of Friday. I'm putting you on, no? Okay.
Thank you.
No. If you answer the phone, Bev, I can put you on mute, but in the meantime, stay unmuted. So, yeah, you're answering the phone? Okay, I'll put you on mute. Okay, so that's something to remember, that Shabbat is overlaid over nature. Robert, do you want to add? Oh, and Ellen, you wanted to say something, so
No,
let's go back.
I was fine.
You were fine. Robert, did you want to say something?
Yeah, the Mizmor Shabbat you sang it's rhythmic, it's repetitive, but it repeats with lots of differences.
Yeah.
It's
For me, it's kind of a slowing down.
A B B A rhythm to it.
But for me, it's about the slowing down. Let me see, there's another one. Mizmor shir. That's more of a chanting. Leyom HaShabbat, Mizmor shir, Leyom HaShabbat. Okay, Helen, thanks. And then it continues on. But yes, it does do that, although I guess most tunes do. But I believe that these tunes, there's a lot of singing beforehand, which in Kabbalat Shabbat and Friday night davening. But then we get to Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat. We talked about this, by the way, a little bit last time. Do people remember when we spoke about the Friday Psalm? So we spoke a little bit. Okay, so I just wanted to bring that to your attention, that Shabbat is a biblical invention or a God's invention. Is invention the right word?
Creation.
Yeah,
Yeah, you think so?
I
Invention
like
is a
it.
good word. You like it?
Yeah.
It's correct, right? It's an it doesn't happen in nature. That's what I mean by invention. And yet the whole world keeps the 7 days. The whole world keeps it, which is kind of cool in my mind, that everybody keeps it, whether or not you consider Saturday a Sabbath or not, because I think in Christianity it's Sundays and in Islam it's Fridays, which is fine. No problem. I don't mind that we have our own. But the idea of every 7 days and Shabbat being Shabbat and resting 1 day a week, perhaps taking a day out, that started with Jews and with God. Okay, so Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat, great. We have spoken about the different Psalms for the different days of the week, and we have tried to find a reason for it. Does it connect with that day? Not so obvious. One thing we were able to find, at least on most days, was whether the day of the week, remember, the first day of the week, Sunday, to find God's name in the first place, and in the second on Monday, and on the third. So if we look at Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat, just count with me, even if you don't read Hebrew. Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat Tov Lehodot LaHashem. So God's name appears in the 7th place. Kind of cool. Not that that was the reason, but maybe you could say, how cool that it lines up. Like maybe there was some providential insights put in the heads of the rabbis who were setting up which psalms we should say, and it works out so beautifully, which I think is really lovely. The very first pasuk, Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat. So Mizmor, so this is what Estelle asked, is a hymn always psalms? I do not think so. But Mizmor is, I believe, always a psalm, or Tehillim. Tehillim is the group of psalms, it's in plural. A psalm, which is a song, Le Yom HaShabbat, for the day of Shabbat. So it's very interesting, because we've spoken about le, for, that in other places it means by. Remember we said le David mizmor, that, well, you weren't here for all those, not everybody, but we said either it means David wrote it, or is it written for David? We also had one for the sons of Korach, and we said, no, they wrote it. That's why it's le. It's a little, you can't really imagine that Shabbat would have written its own psalm. That doesn't make a lot of sense, but it is an interesting using the same letter. I do want to read it. It's a little long for me to read it in Hebrew for those who don't understand Hebrew.
I'm using my Tehillim book. Which number, please?
You know, Judy, you asked me that last time.
I should have brought my Siddur.
You should have brought your Siddur. It's okay. 92.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
92.
Yep, 92. Last week actually was Fridays, and it was 93. And we spoke about that as well. This is by Rav Steinsaltz, and I want to read his introduction to this. We're not going to finish it today because there's a lot to say about it, but I think we won't finish it today. But let's start, because it is a little bit long, and it's also really beautiful. A psalm dedicated to the Sabbath day. At the same time, it is an all-encompassing meditation on matters of the world, reflecting as if from on high on good and evil, on success and failure. So one of the questions, okay, everybody with me on that? That's the introduction. One of the questions, which I never really thought about until I started preparing this psalm, is why is this psalm actually recited on Shabbat? Why is it recited on Shabbat? That's a question I'd like to keep in our minds and in our thoughts, in the back of our minds, as we read through this psalm and as we learn it. So you could say, well, look at the first pasuk. The first verse says, a psalm, a song for the Sabbath day. So some people say that this introductory verse was added. Do you have the psalms, Bev? Because you could take a siddur. Do you have? You're muted. You're muted. No, you're muted. Unmute. Yeah. So either get a siddur or a Bible, a Tanakh. Do you have that?
Yeah, sure.
So what, do you want us to wait a minute and you'll bring it?
Oh, okay.
It's very good to have the text in front of you.
Okay, you continue. I'll just run and get it.
Okie dokie,
In
no
the
problem.
in the art scroll Siddur, it's page 320.
Thank you. Hello, I'm sorry, 1 second. Can I help you? No, that's okay. You're waiting for somebody. Okay, great. We have
What
a
I
clock
have-
here. That's okay. Yeah.
What I have discovered, by the way, is wherever I am or whatever, I mean, I'm not near any kind of library or my own house. And if I just go on my phone and look up Safaria, I can
know.
find the right psalm, and I
Great.
love it.
Yep, it's great. It's always accessible to you. Yep.
Yeah.
Not everybody has two devices like you do, a computer or a lap, and an iPad and a phone. But yes, that is a great thing to know. Just write Safaria, Psalm 92, it's going to pop up. But some
Yeah.
people like to do the written, read it from a book. Okay.
Reading from a book.
Reading from a book. Yes, I like reading from a book. But yes, wherever I am, if I don't, I have my trusty phone with me, and that's very helpful. Great. Okay. So some people say that this introductory verse is, it's okay, that this intro was added afterwards. Not everybody thinks that it was at the same time, but the whole time we're going to try to keep in mind, also based on the midrashim that were written about this psalm, and that includes what the Gemara writes. Remember, midrash, it's when it's not actually in the text, but it's an added thought that picks up on the empty spaces. So Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat. What is so I want to remind you that the second pasuk also is this verse and the next have so many songs associated with them, so many tunes, like this one. Tov lehodot Lashem, Tov lehodot Lashem, ulezamer l'shimecha elyon, להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות. Oy lahagid b'boker chasdecha v'yamunatcha ba'leilot. So does anybody know that one?
Yes.
Yes.
And then there's Tov lehodot l'Hashem. That's another one that I know from my childhood. And then there's Tov Tov lehodot Lashem. Tov lehodot Lashem. Ulezamer leshimcha elyon. Tov lehodot Lashem. Ay, 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 להגיד בבוקר חסדך. אוי להגיד בבוקר חסדך. ואמונתך בלילות, ואמונתך בלילות. טוב, טוב להודות Lashem. So I want to look at verses 2. There are more, by the way. Verses 2 and 3. And I want us to talk about why so many songs were put. Why are these two verses so powerful? We're going to go through the whole thing. We're going to look at the structure. But there's so much depth and wealth in this particular psalm that I don't want to lose any of it. So let's read it in English. How good it is to give thanks to the Lord, to sing praises to your name, Most High. It's interesting because it moves from the third person to the second person. That's just interesting. It's good to give thanks to the Lord, to sing praises to your name, Most High, to tell of your kindness in the morning and your faithfulness in the nights. And by the way, your faithfulness means, sorry, we have a, sir, can we just keep it down because it's a, yeah, it's okay because I'm teaching a class here. So this means God's faithfulness in us, that God trusts us, God has belief in us. What is God's faithfulness? Your faithfulness. So I want you to think about verses 2 and 3. What are the words you see in there? What pops out at you? Why are these two verses given so many tunes? Why are these iconic songs in Jewish Jewish musicality? Any thoughts? Yeah.
I'm struck by the use of the word faithfulness each night because you can use a lot of words during the day, but it takes a special faith to let go and go to sleep.
Oh,
and
nice.
and believe that you'll be taken care of.
Right.
That's beautiful.
So that's a faith.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, you could be truthful during the day. You can be a stalwart during the day. You can be a helpmate
Nighttime
during
is
the day.
harder. Yeah.
But nighttime, we give up everything.
Yeah. We relinquish control.
Right. That's a good word. Thank
because
you.
We're not aware, and at night we shouldn't be aware. People who aren't able to sleep deeply and be aware, they end up sleepwalking and doing all sorts of weird things. I heard a podcast on that. Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. That's great. Any other thoughts?
We also don't control what we dream. I mean, even our dreams are
Even
not
our dreams.
controlled.
Yeah. Beautiful. Great. Anything else?
Oh, I think people are not aware or don't feel that they're always protected or they're always watched over.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
maybe this is
So
a
there's
prayer.
nothing that they could feel, with their hands. It's a concept, and so it's not so familiar. So here it stresses that.
Wow, beautiful. Not given, not obvious.
No.
Also, I wonder if that's partly a prayer then, a prayer that God should, that we can, I don't know, is it that we thank God, we say God's praises in the morning or your kindness in the morning, and God's faithfulness in us in the nights? Maybe that's a prayer. Did you want to add to that, Estelle?
No, I'm just listening.
And by the way, many people look at this as, we sing this song often when it feels like we're going through a period of darkness. And
Well,
it's a
I
prayer
can't hear you. Yes.
that when we go through a period of darkness, Meaning
Of
boker is when things are going well.
oh,
And Laila, nighttime, is when things are hard. In other
I,
words, it's
I,
not just what Ellen was saying about physically going to sleep each night and relinquishing control and believing that God will take care of us and we'll wake up in the morning, hopefully. But also just in periods of boker, of daylight, and in periods of darkness, that we can have faith when there are periods of darkness, that we will get through it. We've just
then,
had,
then,
yeah.
then it's not just for parts of the day. It would mean just any time, really.
Yes. As a matter of fact, that's some of the classic commentaries say exactly that. That the reason it says morning and night is not necessarily to show upbeat times of morning and difficult times at night, but rather that it's all the time. Because Boker and Lila cover everything. Even if you're at the South Pole, the North Pole, or wherever you are where there's very little daylight or very little nighttime, it still will cover every part. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful understanding. That's a great read, Judy.
Yes, since it does move between second person and third person.
Yeah.
Maybe Tov Lahoda Lashem is the second person is good for you. The author is telling us, the people who are saying, to praise Hashem and to sing his and Lahagid Baboker Chaslecha, and to tell of the chesed of the people, and to tell of the emuna of the people.
Nice, nice.
Just another take on it.
Yeah, slightly different take. Beautiful, beautiful.
I have
Nice.
to say that, I blink and it's Shabbat. And then I blink and it's Shabbat again.
No, isn't that amazing?
Well,
Like on Sunday and Monday, it feels like, wow, it's going to be a long week. And all of a sudden it's Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday you're cooking and you're done.
It goes so fast.
it means you're having
Then
fun.
it stops.
Time flies when you're having fun. So, Bev, you must be having a lot of fun.
Right. But
Yes.
I feel that, and the people to whom I speak feel the same way, that boom, it's Shabbat, boom, it's Shabbat again. And it's like I don't say boom, it's Thursday. I say, but here it is. There's even the preparation for Shabbat, the whatever you do to prepare for it,
Mm-hmm. You feel
however
like it
you
comes,
do it,
yeah.
whether you cook for Shabbat or light candles for Shabbat or eat challah for Shabbat, whatever you
Yep.
do something.
There's a beautiful story
Mark
about
the
Yosef.
day.
Yeah, Yosef Mokir Shabbat. That Yosef Mokir means to keep something precious. So Yosef, this man named Yosef, who kept Shabbat so precious that every single thing he did during the week was attuned to next Shabbat. So if he bought some choice vegetable or some morsel, and he would say, "This is for Shabbat." Then if he found something nicer, he wouldn't say, "I already got." He would get that one as well. And then he would say, "No, this is for Shabbat. Shabbat should always have the nicest." So yes, for many of us, not for all of us, but for many of us who keep Shabbat in that way, it's about preparing as something different. And I would invite, as you said, Bev, everybody, even if you don't keep the strict halachic Shabbat, to do something different for Shabbat so that you feel it's a different day. Whether it's lighting candles, making kiddush, having a special food, maybe having friends, or family, something, even if you're by yourself, to do something special. Maybe a nicer food. My family, when we were growing up, my kids loved Shabbat food because the food somehow tasted better on Shabbat, or there were recipes that I really only made for Shabbat. I kept it for Shabbat for whatever reason, too much work or just my kid, I don't know, just worked that way. So beautiful, that's beautiful. And I want to add something else. In order to take that, some of the commentaries also bring up that in order to take that step back and appreciate and give thanks to God, sometimes we need to stop and rest in order to do that. And that's why remember we're saying, how can we connect this to Shabbat? You could say every day that we should give thanks to God. It's not that this psalm is about the 6 days of creation and then God rested. You'll see, we're going to go through it in a minute. But there is a thought that this is very appropriate for Shabbat because on Shabbat we generally have more time because we've taken a break from our regular existence. Okay. Let's go to, I do want to make our way through, but then we will definitely go back and redo. How should we do it? How should we give thanks? How should we acknowledge? In verse 4, Alei Asor V'Alei Navel, Alei Higayon B'Chinor, a 10-string lute and with a harp, with meditative music on the lyre. Lyre?
Yes.
So here's the interesting thing. The Leviim, the Levites, remember we said that these psalms were recited and sung by the Leviim in the temple or in the temple courtyard. That's what we said when we prefaced and explained. So they used to play musical instruments on Shabbat, but we don't.
Why not?
We actually don't play musical instruments.
Right.
So it's interesting that this would be, nobody mentions that as a, wait a minute, why are we specifically talking about music? But maybe that refers to the Levites. But we're not allowed, like we don't take a guitar on Shabbat. We don't take a musical instrument on Shabbat. We halachically Orthodox, that's what I'm saying. So that's interesting that nobody picked up on that and said, oh, wait, this
Well,
is...
how is that justified then?
How is what justified?
I mean, the fact that the non-Levites can't participate in the musical.
Well, again, this was...
musicality of it.
So here's the thing. Well, we could by singing, but, which we do. There's tremendous singing, especially at HIR. And Eli has perfected kind of banging in a certain way with his foot and with his hand that creates an amazing tempo. But again, let's remember, Estelle, when it was first set up, it was set up for the temple. This is what the Leviim recited and sang in the temple. So that was the original. The fact that we decided to keep it up afterwards is to keep that practice. So it really was about a play. You're right. Like if the Levites couldn't as well, then what's the point of having it in the psalm? Now, let's also remember that King David himself was I don't know if he was a harpist. Did I call it? The person who plays the harp?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was a harpist. I don't know if he played the lute or the lyre. I think he played a lot
The
of that.
lyre, yeah.
Anybody play a lyre?
I give him a liar.
It's beautiful. It's that beautiful instrument that looks like
Yes.
David, right? So
A small
David,
harp.
but actually, I want to tell you, we don't think that David is the one who wrote this. Now, I know I'm going to give you a lot of information before we've even read the whole thing, but it's just really beautiful, so we'll make our way through it. There are two different midrashic, I don't know if it's interpretations or suggestions as to who wrote this particular psalm. And neither of them are David. One of them says that Moses, wrote 11 psalms beginning at 90 and finishing at 100. That would be 11 psalms. And I believe that they're sung Friday night, Kabbalat Shabbat. I don't know, I don't think those are the ones sung at Hallel, but they're sung Friday night that the Kabbalists introduced, including this one, that Moshe wrote it. And there's a very different Midrashic tradition that tells this story. So listen to this story. We know that on Friday, or we think that it was on Friday, the very first Friday in the creation of the world, that Adam and Chava were created, and that we believe possibly that we know that Adam sinned, and he was kicked out of the Garden of Eden, however, Adam and Eve actually. But we're not sure exactly when Cain veHevel, Cain and Abel were born, okay? And what we learn, remember, Adam sinned, or Adam is the one who said to God, it wasn't my fault, it was her fault, and God's like, no, you're both kicked out.
Slow.
What?
Slow.
Oh, slower, sorry, I'll do it slower, sorry.
Get all excited.
I know, I get excited, and then I speak quicker. I will try to speak slower. that Adam and Chava were both kicked out, whether it was this one's fault or that one's fault. They both ended up eating from the forbidden fruit, the forbidden tree. But we're not sure when their children were born, Cain and Abel. But what do we know about Cain and Abel? What's a story that happened with them?
Abel killed Cain.
No,
No,
Opposite.
Cain killed Abel.
the opposite, right?
Okay, but you got the story right, just the
Cain
name's wrong. Cain killed Abel, Cain killed Hevel.
Sorry.
And then it's okay, you don't have to point it out. It's okay. And then we know the continuation of the story. It's not that he was like tried, let's say, and killed by God, but rather he was given a punishment. But but we have an interpretation that Cain did tshuva. He repented. He asked for forgiveness, and God protected him afterwards by putting a sign on his forehead or something saying, anybody who harms Cain, sevenfold will be punished, meaning you're protected by me. And the Midrash says that Cain left the presence of God and met his father Adam. And Adam knew that he had killed Hevel. And he said, "What's up, Cain? What's doing?" And Cain said, "I repented, I asked for forgiveness, and God gave me forgiveness." And Adam, was so taken by this. He said, "I didn't realize that you could ask for forgiveness. I figured once you do a sin, you're done," right? Because he was punished and kicked out of the Garden of Eden, expelled, but he never said, "I'm sorry." He didn't say that. He didn't realize. And the Midrash says he stopped and he wrote this psalm. And in this psalm, I don't know that he wrote that he's sorry, but he praises God. He says one should praise God. Now, the person who I heard quoting, many people quote both of these Midrashim. They don't exactly align with each other. Some say, well, Adam wrote it, but it was forgotten, and Moshe, through prophecy, revived it. That's another way to resolve it. But if we think about it, Adam is the first person to experience Shabbat. Absolutely the first person created in the world, and the first person, therefore, who experienced the first Shabbat in the world. So that's a way of understanding that he wrote this psalm in honor of Shabbat. Whereas Moses, was the first person to bring Shabbat, this would answer your question, Judy, to the Jewish people. Because Moshe taught, so Judy asked if our ancestors, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, also kept Shabbat. We don't know. We definitely have teachings that they might have. But Moshe, our greatest leader and teacher, is the one who brought Shabbat to the Jews. While he was in the desert, while they were in the desert, he told them, he said, you collect the manna, every day. But on Friday, what do?
Twice as much.
You do twice as much because you have to prepare for Shabbat. And on Shabbat, do you collect?
No.
No. Thank you. So he brought Shabbat to the Jewish people. So it is appropriate that Adam would write it, and it's also appropriate that Moshe would write it. Adam in the universalist lens, and Moshe in the particularist lens of the Jewish people.
But it also speaks to the duality of Shabbat, about being lezecher, to remember the creation, and also to remember Yetziat Mitzrayim.
Beautiful, Judy. So say more about that. I love that. I didn't even think of that. That's great. So say more. Explain that.
That's analogous to Adam was celebrating Shabbat, recognizing Hashem's creativity and that he created the world, and Moshe not only giving honor to his great grandfather Adam for passing on the tradition of recognizing Hashem's creation. Also, Moshe was the leader of the Jewish people who took Am Yisrael out of Egypt. So it has the two aspects of Shabbat.
That's very interesting, because I also believe that, the 10 Commandments were given twice, or not given twice, sorry. They're mentioned twice in the Torah. Once when
Right.
it happened, and once when Moshe recounts it to the
Right.
children, to the next generation. And I believe that one of them, it speaks, I think, that one of them it speaks about that it's dedicated to the creation of the world, or that's the reason. And the other one, the Exodus from Egypt. And I'm just looking it up because I don't have that in front of me. One second.
First in Yitro.
Yeah, first in Yitro, Zachor, et Yom. Hold on, I'm just looking this up. Yes, so Zachor, which is remember, which is in Yitro, in Exodus, when it actually happened. Why? For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested on the seventh day. So there it remembers leaving Egypt and creating the Jewish people. No, sorry, apologies. This is about the creation of the world when it first happened, that God invented this idea of rest. Now I'm going to look at the Shamor and see if that's true, what I remember. One second. Shamor. Because that's written in Deuteronomy. But I only have that pasuk. Just a minute. Shamor et Yom HaShabbat L'Kadasho. Why isn't it giving me more? Shamor. So this is chapter 5. Let me just look this up. Okay. Using Helen's. Okay. Shamor. Exactly as I thought. It doesn't say because of creation. Remember that you were a slave in the land of Egypt, and God freed you from there with a mighty hand and outstretched arm, and therefore God has commanded you to observe the Sabbath day. So it actually speaks beautifully to both of those traditions, that Adam wrote it, Adam, when the first Shabbat, and then Moshe. Beautiful. That was great. Okay. Great. We will pick up next week. Wednesday is Shushan Purim. It is the day after Purim. It's when Purim was celebrated in Shushan and in Jerusalem nowadays. But it's kind of a half holiday for us. And that will be next Wednesday. And next Monday night, Tuesday is Purim. For all those who wish to hear the Megillah read, we do Zoom all of our Megillot readings. The one at night, you'll see it in all in all of our emails and bulletins. So you are welcome to listen to the Megillat Esther. There's a 6:30 at night. There's an 8:45 women's reading, which is really beautiful. It'll also be Zoomed. There's a 9:45 in the morning. There were 3. So you have many options to listen to the Megillah. You can fulfill the mitzvah of Megillat Esther.
In what language?
In Hebrew.
It's going to be in Hebrew.
There is actually one person who has a claf in English, but he's not available this year to read it. I'm sorry.
But
Yeah,
that's of course. Can't be on Zoom.
I thought that Bernie's reading, didn't it have English captions?
Yeah, I think that they'll probably put up, you're right, there's probably up on the electronics. Yeah, we'll probably have up on the screen the Hebrew and the English. You are right about that, but not read in English. There is one person who has a kosher scroll in English, Rabbi Linzer's son, and he read it 2 or 3 years in a row already in English during the day, but he's not available this year, so we're not doing it.
I had one in Yiddish.
Wow.
On a scroll?
Yeah, it was,
Parchment?
if I can't, no.
Wait, written by a scribe?
I don't know. All I know is that it's in Yiddish.
Oh, okay. No, the reason I'm asking is because if it was written by a scribe in Yiddish on a scroll, then it would be kosher Megillah.
I gave a scroll to Rabbi Weiss
In Hebrew, though.
in Hebrew.
Yeah, in Hebrew.
It was a
yeah.
damaged scroll, and
Oh,
he took it and presumably repaired it, and it's part of.
Oh,
okay.
We rented a house, and that scroll was in it.
Wow, beautiful. Real legacy. All right,
yeah.
so friends, Purim Sameach. I hope that you give
Yes.
and receive Mishloach Manot. Remember to give some money to poor people. That's Matanot Levyonim. That is one of the 4 mitzvot that we are commanded on Purim, a rabbinic holiday. We do have guidelines that are in all of our communication. You can read them. So the 4 are listening to the Megillah twice, having a meal on Purim Day, which is usually with bread or hopefully with somebody else if you can. A third one is giving gifts of food to a friend or a neighbor. And the fourth one is giving money to the poor. So if you are able to fulfill any or all of those mitzvot, if there's anything I can do to help you fulfill them, please let me know. I look forward to continuing this beautiful discussion on Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat and more songs next Wednesday.
Great. Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Purim Sameach.
Chag
Bye-bye.
Sameach.